sorry for leaving y'all so long. I had no idea that that body would come up right when I was coming to talk to y'all. So, anyway, I apologize. I know y'all busy and you don't want to sit up here all day. I can do Spanish too if you guys want it, if that helps you. Okay. You want to do English first and then Spanish second? Okay. Okay. Good evening. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a briefing about what happened yesterday and today. Generally, what the story is last night about 8 o'clock we got a call from 911 dispatcher that there was a possible drowning out here at the San Luis Pass. And what we pieced together when we were on site, along with our partners, with the fire department, with EMS, the police, Jamaica Beach Fire and Rescue, is that there was a group of young men out here fishing. Didn't look like they were doing anything more than fishing. They were just north of the bridge in the San Luis Pass area. Area is known for very strong currents, and there is, we put a lot of safety information out about that. But being dark, I don't know if they saw the signs and that kind of stuff. So they were wade fishing, didn't have any problem, had been out here for a while. All but one of them went into the beach and were doing something on shore. I don't know, checking in their car or something like that. And when they turned around, the young man, the 17-year-old Latino male that we were missing, was gone, and they didn't know why. They were all standing in about, they said, waist to chest deep water when it happened, and he was in shallow water like that, standing up the last time they saw him. We don't know if it was the currents, which are really strong out here, if there was a hole, or maybe there was some kind of medical thing that happened, and we're not sure about that. We searched throughout the night with our partners. We had the Coast Guard was out. We had Gulf Coast Search and Rescue came out with the Coast Guard. I contacted our friends at the Community Emergency Response Team with the county. They had the local county one and precinct one in Houston were down here. They spent quite a long time searching throughout the day today, starting in the midday. And just recently, a few minutes ago, the Coast Guard helicopter spotted a body from up in the air in shallow water. He was actually in a little inlet that's in the area. And it looked like as the water was dropping, we have an outgoing tide right now, the body was more visible. And they saw him from the air. We couldn't see him from the ground. We were able to move him into a boat with a group called EquiSearch, who was out here also. It was liaising with the Coast Guard to be here. Moved him into the boat, put him on the shoreline. And then looking at the conditions, the sand was very thick. We couldn't get the ID division down here to check the body and all that kind of stuff. So we made a move to move him to a fire station where the medical examiner will check him over, and then the funeral home will pick him up and move him to the ME's office here in Galveston County. The dangers of this area are, just like on both ends of the island, we have strong tidal flow. We recommend that you do not swim in these areas. It's also, we have city ordinances prohibiting that. So the recommendation is that you use this as a way to remind all you and yours that these areas are dangerous to swim in. If you want to fish, fish from the shoreline. General safety information, if you're in or around the water, if you're a non-swimmer or with children, make sure they wear a properly fitted life jacket, and also avoid any structures on the beachfront to stay away from the rip current hazard that we have there. This was, if it was current related, it was a tidal current, not a rip current that caused it. But again, we're not sure the exact cause at this time. We are very happy to have resolution, at least for the family. My staff has been very concerned, as have all the groups that have been working this together. And I would thank all of them for all their efforts through this, and send our heartfelt condolences out to the family as they move from the process. But at least we can move to the next phase for them. I just met with the family and briefed them, and then sharing the same information with you I shared with them. And so at that point, if you have questions or comments or anything, I'm happy to field them.
Tell us where he was initially reported missing, and where is that in reference to where he was found?
Very good question. Yes, sir. So the report that we had, was about 100 yards north of the San Luis Pass Bridge on the Galveston side. And so if you look at the bridge, it goes over to Brazoria County. The base of that, if you look to the right just a little bit, 100 yards, that was where he and his friends and family were fishing. And that's where the last seen point that he was. No one saw him actually go down, but that's where we're assuming he went down. If you look out there, there's actually a sandbar. So there's the waterfront, and then there's a little bit of water, and then there's another sandbar. And he actually worked his way into that little inlet where that sandbar is. And so probably my guess is that he was, neutrally buoyant, and he went with the incoming tide out, and then with the outgoing tide, and kind of worked his way up into that little inlet. And that's where the Coast Guard spotted him. It's probably not more than 300 yards from the last seen point. It's really close. And this area is very tricky. There's tons of currents, and the sandbars change all the time. So this is a good thing, because this could have been days while we were looking, just because the area is so tricky with all the currents and winds and changing conditions.
Was the family able to, can you confirm his name?
He's a minor, so we can't release the name. But they did confirm his name, and we did get a good description, and he matches that description. So we're as sure as we can be without the medical examiner making that determination that this is the same young man that we're missing from last night. Like I said, the area where he was found was about 300 yards away, and we're not missing anybody else in the area.
Talk to us about just delivering that news. Obviously, it's the worst job there is to have to deliver that news to a family. Can you talk to us about that process and how they took the news?
Sure, happy to. There's not much worse in this kind of work than telling a family they lost their son. I can't imagine that there's anything worse than that, really, other than receiving that news. So that's not easy, and we do take a lot of pride, not just the Beach Patrol, but all the first responders here on the island, helping the over 7 million tourists that come here a year get home safely. And so this is not something that we take lightly, and we do have a history of very low drowning rate here in Galveston, particularly in recreational areas. The hard part is if you're at these kind of weird parts of the island after hours, there's not a set of eyes out there. So just these safety reminders about making sure you wear a life jacket and use good common sense are really important for people to remember, because there's not always going to be that extra layer of protection that a lifeguard service or police or EMS or fire is going to provide for you. Do I got what they need? Yeah. Va a ser más difícil en español para mí, pero voy a tratar. Does anybody need to take anything off, or you want me to just roll in Spanish with this? You guys okay? Okay. Estamos aquí hablando de el evento que pasó anoche, de un ahogamiento de un niño de 17 años, un hispano, aquí en Galveston. Él fue de Houston. Estaba con un grupo de sus amigos y familia aquí en San Luis Pass área de la isla de Galveston. Estaban pescando nada más de y cuando estaban en el agua, el grupo regresaron a la orilla, y cuando checaron, él no estaba en el agua. No estamos seguros qué exactamente pasó. Posible fue un pozo, posible fue corriente del cambio del mar, o posible fue un evento médico que pasó en el agua. Buscamos con muchos grupos aquí, con voluntarios, con apoyos profesionales durante la noche hasta 2 de la mañana, y empezamos otra vez hoy muy temprano en la mañana buscando. Gracias a EquiSearch, a CERT, el grupo de Precinct 1 en Houston, y también el CERT de Galveston County que estaban ayudando, y también nuestros amigos en Galveston Search and Rescue para este. Lo que pasó hoy, algunos momentos atrás, fue un Coast Guard en el helicóptero de Coast Guard. Ellos notaron la forma de un cuerpo cerca del último lugar de este hombre estaba, y encontramos la cuerpa, ponemos la cuerpa en la lancha de EquiSearch, regresaron a la orilla y sacamos la cuerpa de la lancha, y transportamos él a una estación de bomberos que está cerca para proteger la familia, la persona y todo eso. Yo expliqué todo esto a la familia antes de y tienen la misma información que ustedes tienen. Y nosotros sentamos muy malo que pueda pasar, y sentamos muy malo para la familia también. Esperamos que el público va a usar esta información para proteger su familia, a sus amigos cuando venimos aquí. No naden cerca de los fines de la isla, usen chaleco salvavidas, cuando está cerca del agua. Y también no nadan cerca de escolleras o estructuras en el agua porque hay corrientes de retorno muy fuerte allí. Pero sobre todo para es no nadan en los fines de la isla porque cambia de mar, tiene mucho corriente y cambia el fondo rápidamente. Si quieren pescar aquí en San Luis Paz, por favor, hacen de la orilla, no en el agua. Y con esa información puede prevenir pasando otra vez con otras personas.
Desde el lugar donde ellos estaban pescando, a más o menos a qué distancia fue encontrado el cuerpo del joven.
¿De distancia de este?
Sí,
El último lugar donde él estaba fue más o menos 300, 400 metros de la último lugar. Fue en un bahía, pero un bahía muy pequeño, muy cerca de Entonces pensamos que con el cambio de mar, el cuerpo movió un poco y regresó más o menos al mismo área, pero cerca, pero no exactamente el mismo lugar. Estamos hablando de ahora menos de 24 horas, entonces es muy raro encontrar un cuerpo en menos de 2 días aquí, pero yo creo que ese fue un regalo de los corrientes del mar para nosotros tener el cuerpo, comunicar con la familia y ellos pueden empezar el proceso de
¿Exactamente a qué hora encontraron el cuerpo?
¿Hoy?
Hoy.
No sé exactamente, pero estamos hablando de más o menos 6 en la tarde, más o menos, poquito antes yo creo. Anoche ellos llamaron 911 a las 8 en la tarde y recibimos la llamada a las 8 y dijeron que buscaron como 10 minutos antes de llamando, entonces estamos hablando de poco tiempo y llegamos muy pronto después de eso. We good? Those of you who speak Spanish, you can criticize me later. Okay, all right. Good questions, thank you.
There are no eyes past a certain point. Why don't places like these shut down?
Texas Open Beaches Act is pretty strict about this, that we're not able to close beaches unless there's extreme circumstances, and that would be done in combination with the state, with the General Land Office, and the municipality. So this has been a challenge, I think, for a lot of years, but there's a lot of coast in Texas that doesn't have services like we provide here in Galveston, just because Texas coast is so giant and it's really rural for most of the areas. So that's a big part of the reason. So what we've done instead is focused on putting signage in the location, and then starting Memorial Weekend, we'll run 2 patrols out here to help prevent this kind of thing from happening, hopefully. One is a patrol of the 18 miles of the west end of the island that we don't guard with towers, and the other is on the weekends we put a patrol out here specifically to keep people out of the water and to remind them that we have a city law that prevents people from going in the water. That we have a law that prevents people from going in the water, and so that has had a big impact. We were averaging, probably 4 drownings a year between the Galveston and Brazoria County side, and that number has dropped significantly since we started doing that. We've been doing that for about 4 years now. But there's a long history out here of this kind of stuff, and it was way before I entered in the early 80s. It was going on before that as well, and so you're not going to change the danger in this area. I think what we have to do is work to change people's minds, and it's very helpful when the media puts out the safety information to people. It makes a huge difference. I think you're reaching more people than we realize. Good question.
Approximate time from when they located the body?
I didn't pull the time up yet, but it looked like it was a little bit before 6 o'clock that when the body was spotted, and then we moved it. I could be a little bit off on that one because I have to get my numbers together, but it looked like it was about that, more or less. So we're talking about close to 24 hours, which is unusual to recover a body that quickly in this area. Usually we would have to wait till it refloats, but what we're thinking happened is the current brought us a gift, so that we were able to find resolution for the family quicker because the current brought the body back into the area faster than we would have normally seen. Okay. Thank y'all, and again, thanks for your patience. I appreciate it. Y'all got my cell if you need anything, just holler. Yeah, pleasure.